Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Den. I am Rob. I appreciate you hitting that play and coming over here to hang out with me, be it on the YouTube for the video version or wherever you listen to your podcast for the audio version, man. Today, we're going to be doing a movie review. We're going to be looking at the latest film from director Sam Raimi, the icon of horror. But, he stepped out of those boxes before. But he's mostly known for horror stuff, and he is returning to horror with the film Send Help. This movie stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, and we're going to keep it spoiler free as much as possible, as I typically do here with the review. So, again, appreciate you coming over here to hang out with me, man. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in to this review. Let's throw up the poster for you YouTube viewers. There you go, looking scary and menacing and crazy and horrific. The film is rated R for strong, bloody violence and language. Film runs in at 1 hour 53 minutes, just a shade under 2 hours there for you, and it is classified as a horror mystery thriller film. And you know me. If you've been here for a while, appreciate you first and foremost for being a subscriber and all that good stuff. If you've been here for a while, I like to call that the trifecta of awesome when you get the horror, mystery, thriller all together in a movie, man. If you're new here, welcome in. Let's have some fun. So, again, director Sam Raimi, Rachel McAdams, these two work together. I think the last thing I saw Rachel McAdams in actually was the last time those two worked together, and that was, of course, for the film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or as I like to refer to it, Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness, man. um, so it's cool to see those two back together. Dylan O'Brien, I don't know much about. He's in the I know he's from the Maze Runner movies. He's from the Maze Runner movies and the Teen Wolf show that was on MTV, VH1, one of the two. So I know he's from that stuff. Not as knowledgeable on Dylan O'Brien. Of course, I know Rachel McAdams. She's fantastic. Love her and all that good stuff, man. So, quick idea of what this movie is about and all that stuff. Rachel McAdams' character is a model employee, like the best employee in the business where she's working there, getting all the work done. She's doing all the work for everybody. Doesn't really get the credit she deserves. She's just, again, hard worker looking for advancement and accomplishment in her position as a model employee would do. Dylan O'Brien's character sucks. I think that's the easiest way to put it, man. That character absolutely sucks. Worst kind of boss imaginable. Just terrible, kind of boss that you can have to deal with and all that stuff. So obviously those two aren't gonna work too well together. But of course she is, just again model person, right? So what ends up happening is, of course, she's crunching numbers and all that stuff, and is helping with the business side of things. So she will join the boss and a couple of other employees from the business onto a flight to go do a selling. There's a better word for it, promotion, selling, meeting, whatever you want to call it, of said information to help sell it and all that stuff, right? On that trip over there to do this talk of business, unfortunately, the plane hits an incident and unfortunately ends up crashing on the way there, leaving Rachel McAdams' character and Dylan O'Brien's character stranded on the island. Rachel's character is pretty much all right. Dylan O'Brien's character beat up a little bit and has going to have to be taken care of for a portion of this movie and all that stuff. We've seen this. I think the easiest thing to kind of compare it to more recently, maybe there's been other movies or stuff like that, but more recently, I think the first thing you kind of think about is the film Castaway, starring Tom Hanks. Remember, where he is a businessman as well. He's on a flight on the way to do some business, and unfortunately, the plane hits an incident, crashes. He gets stranded on a island. He has to deal and adapt to the area, and eventually find and strategize a way out of there and all that stuff. But the difference here is, again, that movie is just standard standalone Tom Hanks. This movie, it's two characters. It's Rachel McAdams' character, Dylan O'Brien's character. And again, as I mentioned before, those two don't really get along with each other. They don't mesh too well with each other. Um, there's all that thing. Again, Rachel McAdams' character, very good person, so she's trying to help take care of Dylan O'Brien's character for the most part. He is just, again, terrible, terrible person. So that runs into some issues. And there's a line in the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, sorry, but there's a line in the trailer where she says to him, "We're not in the office anymore," where he tries to be very bossy towards her, which freaking love that, man. Great line and all that stuff. But she, again, very smart, very knowledgeable. You learn some things about her that I'm not going to spoil, obviously, but you can understand a little bit of how she can process what she's going through here in on this island, all this stuff. And she's doing the work, man. Like, she's building shelter, she's finding food, she's doing all that stuff. You can see some of the stuff in the trailer, so it's not really spoiler talk, but she's got it all together, man. Um, He, of course, is a terrible, terrible person, but while things go on throughout the film, he's going to have to learn to work with her to, if he's going to be able to survive and if they're going to be able to figure out any situations here and all that stuff of how to survive on this said island while they're in the situation that they're in. Will it last? Will it not last? Kind of situation. How is that all going to work out between the two of them? And will he stop being a just complete, utter but face of a person. Will he be able to stop being what he has been the majority of his life and what he acts like to be able to work with her and for them to be able to survive? Or will it just come to a head where things go off? Will they lose their mind, right? You're stuck on this deserted island. You have nowhere to go. You look out in the ocean, there's nothing close to you and all that stuff. You don't know if somebody's coming to save you. You hope somebody is. You're obviously part of a big business. You would think somebody's going to hone in on try to find where you're at and all that stuff. But you don't know for sure if it's going to happen, if they can find you again. You're in a remote area. So, how is that going to work? What's going on this island? Are there any wild animals? Is there any wild creatures? Are you going to run into any situations and all this stuff? It's a crazy thing to think about, man. It's a crazy idea and a crazy aspect. And now, again, these two people that don't really get along at all in the office are now going to be forced to work together. She's a good person. He's not. How's that all going to work out? Very, very compelling story throughout this movie, especially how you see how things unfold and work throughout the film and how things are end up going and all that stuff. Very good. The bloody violence, it does get bloody, does get that Sam Raimi feel to it and that Sam Raimi aspect to it, especially with the gore. There's some gory moments in it, but there's also, man, um, there is a scene in this film that involves a jump scare. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell you what it is because I'm not spoiling anything, but it scared the crap out of somebody in the theater sitting in front of me, which is hilarious. But you can see them audibly jump and like something went flying. I think it was popcorn, but something went flying. I'm like, oh man, because it does come out of nowhere. You're like, holy crap. If you're not somebody like myself who's watched a ton of films who kind of expect something to happen at some point in time. But yeah, there's a scene in there that has a jump scare. It was very well done. Very well done. So yeah, it hits on that horror aspect, hits on the thriller aspect. There's a mystery again involving this island and trying to figure out what's happening, all this, and their sanity. Is their sanity going to stay okay, or are they going to be able to, complement each other in a way to help solve the stuff here? What's going to happen here, and just the dynamic and the drama of all of it. Very freaking good, man. Very freaking good. Rachel McAdams again. I don't know much about Dylan O'Brien. He does a great job. He plays a very convincing, terrible person in the film. And Rachel McAdams is just again fantastic with the what her character has to deal with throughout this movie, what her character is, what her character needs to be throughout this whole film, and where her character goes and where his character goes and all this stuff. Very well done, very well put together, very enjoyable, man. Um, so yeah, yeah. Send Help is definitely one of the best films I've seen so far this year. I've seen 9 movies. It's in competition for being my favorite film of the year so far. Primate is very up there as well. It's Primate and this one are the two films that have lasted as the big movies I've seen so far in this early year that we're at right now. But very, very good, man. So if you haven't seen Send Help yet, go see it. Apparently, it's in 3D, which I guess I can understand in some aspects after seeing the movie, but you don't need to see it in 3D. Um, no real credit scenes to have to deal with here. Um, Nor would you expect there to be any credit scenes or anything like that. But solid movie, man. So overall, that's my thoughts on Send Help. If you saw it over the when it came out, this movie's been out for a little bit. If you've seen it though, it's number one at the box office twice, so you've seen it. Some people have seen it, but overall, Send Help very well. The Strangers Chapter 2 or 3 is not gonna make enough money to top it. That was the new movie that came out this week, and I did see, and I will have a review for you later out later this week for Strangest Chapter 3. And then we'll talk about that whole series, that whole trilogy over there with that review. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be out in a couple days. It will be out this week for sure. But yeah, Send Help, very good. Very good movie. Enjoyed it a lot. Easily one of my favorite films that I've seen so far this year. Again, those two, Primate and Send Help, are definitely the two best films I've seen so far this year, as far as I'm concerned. And that'll do it, man. So as always, I'd like to remind you, you matter. You're capable of incredible, incredible things. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself, fight for yourself, give yourself some kindness, love yourself, man, and it matter. At the end of the day, you matter and you're important. So be yourself, trust yourself, You matter, man. Remember all that. All right. So appreciate you again for hanging out with me and all that stuff. And we're going to close it out there. I don't like to tell you to do anything, so I'm not going to tell you to do anything. Like, subscribe at your own usefulness. If you want to, at your own usefulness sounds so bad. At your own, um, whatever. I never had to close this thing out. I get nervous. I don't get nervous. I just get in this weird area where I'm like, how do you close this thing? So we're going to close it. So again, appreciate you hanging out, whether it be the YouTube or the audio. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back soon.